What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burrow77 coming to you live with another Super Saturday slate of college hoops. We have 144 games tipping off at noon Eastern. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you right now. I have to re-record this because I forgot to switch my microphones and I couldn't even fix that sound in post. So that's why there's no beer crack on this track. I just don't have time to put that back in. We are gonna keep the pace super high and move quick today. Speaking of moving quick, we're not going to spend too much time on Saturday's results. Clemson -2.5 covers for us. Indiana State missed the front end of two 1-and-1s that would have gotten us the cover, but they won the game, so that stinks. USF Bulls take care of their business. UNC look fraudulent right now. I thought I bought a future at a right time when they looked to be at rock bottom, but apparently they can sink lower. Can't do anything about Vodtech -4.5. They lost to garbage Notre Dame. I'll take that number 9 times out of 10 again, though. Speaking of results, I know I brought you guys some UCL content midweek. I think I'm going to keep up with that instead of doing the college basketball content, just because midweek football does have a little longer shelf life. It allows me to put more effort into the recording production and it stays relevant for longer, whereas there's maximum a 24-hour shelf life on these college basketball videos. That doesn't mean I'm done making CBB content altogether. It just means that I'm going to transition into making more of those 90-second to 2-minute long shorts. Also, I've been lucky enough that Kyle Kerms, aka Sauce, has been inviting me onto his show, where I've been providing a ton of extra CBB content. Anyway, getting into the record, like I mentioned, we went 2-3 last Saturday for -0.6 units. I gotta step it up on the Land Your Bets CBB content record because 22, 2, and 30 just isn't gonna cut it for -4.45 units. But luckily, the Discord is doing well. We are 124, 5, and 114 over there for plus 2.53 units on the season. Discord's where I publish all my official picks, unit track them, keep them in Google Sheets, and share them with everybody who's subscribed. This record also includes all my official media content that I've been doing for Land Your Bets, the shorts, and anything on Kyle's show that I've put money down on. Being plus money heading into the last couple of weeks of conference play is always great, with conference tournaments and the NCAA bracket coming out soon. So we will look to add to these units this weekend. Starting with Wake Forest at Virginia, tipping off at noon over on ESPN2. Myself and Discord laid the -2.5. That number is disappearing, and it's mostly -3 and -3.5s on the board now. I am fine with this at -3, but I would not move through that 3. This is a rubber match. Wake Forest won 66-47 on January 13th in their building. This Wake team has looked absolutely spineless on the road all season. Duke and UNC are the only two teams Wake played on the road who I respect more than Virginia. On Monday, Duke beat Wake Forest by 8. And back on January 22nd, UNC beat the brakes off Wake Forest by 21. Ugly other road losses for Wake Forest include at FSU, at NC State, and at Pitt. Wake Forest away wins don't impress me much either, winning at Georgia Tech and at Boston College. This Wake Forest team is definitely fun, and we've talked about them a lot. You guys know I like Kevin Booby Miller, shout out the Chicago kid. I like Hunter Silas, and Cameron Hildreth is a really interesting player, but these guys can just not put it together on the road. Wake Forest has lost 6 of their last 7 away games. Virginia is in the perfect bounce back spot here, coming off of a bad home loss to a Pitt team that I don't have a ton of respect for. Virginia will be very up for this game, and the building will be absolutely rocking. Virginia feasts on the defensive glass and won't give up very many second chance buckets. The keys to the game here for Virginia are: it's time for your defense to stand the hell up like they did versus Miami, allowing only 39 points. You got to hit some shots and make some buckets. If you take care of the basketball will take care of you. Turnovers and transition buckets will absolutely kill you when it comes to pace playing Wake Forest. And last but not least, keep Wake Forest off the free throw line because they're one of the best in the country at knocking them down. Virginia not only defends hard, they defend well, and they do not put people at the free throw line. Keeping it moving over to the Big East, one of my favorite conferences in college basketball. Creighton is going to Butler, and that tips off at 12:30 p.m. on Fox. Discord and myself took Butler plus 3.5. I'm fine here at plus 3. Just don't move inside the 3. Creighton already had their get-right game after 2 bad losses. They beat Xavier last Saturday. They also beat the brakes off of a Georgetown team that really stinks on Tuesday. Butler at home is super tough, and DJ Davis will be the best player on the floor. Butler did a great job defending Marquette all game, but lost the rubber match and unfortunately blew the cover late with some free throw game stuff. Butler already has a win over Creighton, 99-98 on the road in Creighton's building back on February 2nd. Butler's defense has stepped it up recently, and they are creating a ton of turnovers that lead to fast break points. Posh Alexander is a major part in this. Both teams are money from the free throw line, and both teams are top 20 in the nation at not giving up free throws to their opponents. Creighton's going to want revenge for that home loss, and the against the spread trends love the Blue Jays on the road. Creighton is 6-3 against the spread away, and 6-1 against the spread as road dogs this season. Butler is only 5-8 against the spread at home, and 3-5 after a home loss, and they haven't won against the spread as home dogs. Numbers be damned. I don't care. I'm going with my eye test. I like this Butler Bulldogs team. Give me the 3.5 or the 3, whatever you can get the number at, as long as you're getting at least 3. Sticking with the Big East, Marquette is on the road at UConn, 3 p.m. tip over on Fox. UConn is the best team in the country. There's no two ways around it, but Marquette is playing elite basketball right now. UConn should own the glass on both ends of the floor, but I think the hoop looks about 6 feet wide right now to these Marquette shooters. They have been absolutely making it rain from 3 and from any spot on the floor, really. UConn defense is definitely a major step up in class, but Marquette have only failed to score 70 points once this entire season. UConn is steamrolling everybody in college basketball, but they really need to win this one because they have to go on the road and play Marquette March 6th in Marquette's building. This will be the second to last game for both of these teams before conference play. So this is the start of a very tough home and away match for both of these sides. This number is simply too low for offenses running this red hot. I have already put my money down on the over 147.5, and I gave it out in Discord. Over numbers tend to creep up closer to tip time, so I would move on this number sooner rather than later. Keeping it moving, we're going opposite end here. Cincy at UCF. We are going to, that is tipping off at 4 p.m. over on ESPN Plus. We are going to take the under 135.5 here, but we're going to sit on it because I'm seeing 136s pop up on the board right now, and I think it might drift even higher, closer to tip. Last head-to-head in Cincy, the Bears won 68-55, clearing this under easily. UCF's defense at home is next level good. It's an entire different stratosphere from the already good defense they play regularly. Cincinnati's defense is absolutely no slouch either. Both of these teams suck at the free throw line. Rebounding is a slight edge to Cincinnati, but I think UCF will be all over the glass at home, especially with the crowd behind them, and they're already very good on the glass as is. UCF should also be able to win the turnover battle, but the thing is, they don't always push the pace after turnovers and look to quickly score on transition buckets. So that can also help us keep this total under. Both teams have a bunch of guys who can elevate and protect the rim. If you like big time blocks and sick looking defense, this is the game for you. We're going to take the under. 135.5 is a comfortable number. I'm just going to sit and wait because I think, like most college basketball games, this gets bet up closer to tip, and we might be able to catch a better number tomorrow afternoon. Rolling right into some Big Ten action. U of I is on the road at Maryland, tipping off at 5:30 p.m. over on Fox. I already got my cash down, and I put this on Discord. We're taking U of I, and we're laying the -2. I don't super enjoy betting the Big Ten, and I really hate backing road favorites in Big Ten play. Maryland is definitely better in their own gym, but they're not U of I levels of better, and U of I is pretty decent on the road. Illinois should completely dominate the offensive glass here, and they work the defensive glass really well too. Both teams' defenses are outstanding, and this is going to be a classic low-scoring Big Ten Midwest rock fight. I really like getting this U of I number inside the -3. Also, as I've mentioned, the U of I coach is kind of a dickhead and doesn't foul late up 3. So I'm not super worried about a backdoor cover. I've watched him do it a bunch where he should have been fouling up 3 and he just flat out refuses to do it or have his team do it. So that's why I'm perfectly fine laying the -2 here instead of drinking the juice to pay like -130, -135 on the money line. It wouldn't be an Oaks show if we didn't talk at least one mid-major game. So keeping it moving, Indiana State is at SIU, tipping off at 7 p.m. on ESPN+. I know we got burned on the missed free throws on the front end of 1-and-1s, but give me Indiana State laying the -4.5. This is a perfect bounce back spot for Indiana State, who's coming off of a terrible home loss to Illinois State. Look for them to vent some frustration here on SIU. Indiana State won the first head-to-head match 77-48. Let me repeat that for you guys. 77-48. I know that was back on November 28th, but if all I have to do is lay -4.5 here after looking at that score, sign me the hell up. SIU lives and dies with the 3-ball. But so does Indiana State. Both of these teams much prefer to shoot outside and at the perimeter. Both of these teams suck on the offensive glass, but they both clean up the defensive glass really well. I just don't think Indiana State can continue shooting as bad as they did the other night. And even a little bit the game before that. I think they bounce back here in a big way and make a statement on the road at SIU. Indiana State gets to the free throw line early and often, and they knock down all of their free throws. They also keep their opponents off the line as well, and that's good because SIU is very quality at the stripe. SIU wants to play slow and very much like Dayton-style basketball. They hate playing fast. Indiana State wants to run a little bit more and play in transition, especially off of created turnovers. It goes without saying, Robbie Avila is the best player on the floor, and I like backing the teams with the best player on the floor. Give me Indiana State, and we'll lay the -4.5. I'm comfortable taking this all the way out to -5.5 as well if you see line movement overnight. Quick wrap up here. Wake Forest at UVA. We're taking UVA -3. Like I said, we already got money down at -2.5, but I'll grade it at -3. Creighton at Butler. Again, I took Butler +3.5 with the Discord. I'll grade this at Butler +3. Against the spread trends be damned. My eye test is telling me Bulldogs got fight here. Marquette at UConn. We're taking the over 147.5. I just don't think this is enough points for a Marquette team that's shooting the lights out of every building they step into. I apologize. This should say UCF, not USF. Give us the under 135.5. Again, I believe this gets bet up and we find a better number a little bit closer to tip. But both of these defenses are outstanding and neither team can buy buckets. Always tough to win on the road in the Big Ten, but U of I is the far better team. Give me them -2. I'm fine taking this anywhere inside -3. Again, I apologize for the typo here. Indiana State at SIU. This shouldn't say U of Indiana. We're taking Indiana State -4.5 at the Slookies. I made sure to get 6 picks on here, even though it's an even number, because I have been been lacking on CBB content a little bit lately. We're going to jump right into the lean sheet now, and then I have a few things I got to say as we wrap up. I separated the lean sheet into sides and totals this week. Same deal as last week. They go chronologically. So TTU is the first tip time. Nevada is the last tip time. Same thing with the totals. TTU +8. This is too many points for a team that shoots free throws this well. It's a very tough barn out there in Ames. This tips at noon over on ESPN Plus. I like TTU in the 8. TCU on the money line at Kansas. Projections love TCU in this one, but K-State is one of the top 10 hardest buildings to play in all of college basketball. This tips off at noon over on ESPNU. Texas +10.5 at Houston. Texas forced overtime at home, but then lost. Big in-state rivalry. I think this is too many points. This tips off at 1 p.m. on CBS. Florida at Georgia over 157.5. If you watch Florida play a single game this season, you know why I like the over. This tips off at 1 p.m. over on the SEC Network. BYU -6 at Oklahoma State. I have no respect for Oklahoma State. They can't hit free throws, and the only defending they do is on the glass and not on the floor. This tips off at 2 p.m. on ESPN+. UMass -6 at LaSalle. I got burned very publicly and made a very poor read on LaSalle. So LaSalle needs to hit double-digit threes to stay in this game. I don't think they have that in their bag. This tips off at 2 p.m. over on ESPN+. Duke -5.5 at Florida State. It should be well known that I don't mess with Florida State. So I didn't dig into this one or do metrics or projections at all. Just give me Duke -5.5. That's why it's a lean, and we're not talking about it in a breakdown. This tips at 2 p.m. on ESPN. Scotty at Iowa over 152.5. Iowa plays absolutely no defense and only looks to run up the score. Scotty can't shoot outside of their gym, but they probably can versus this Iowa team who has garbage defense. Tipping at 215 over on the Big Ten Network. Youngstown State -3.5 at Cleveland. Against the spread, trends hate this, but Youngstown State is finishing the Horizon League season very difficultly, and this is the first of 3 road matches. They have to get this one against a bad Cleveland State team. Give me Youngstown to cover the number, -3.5, tipping off at 3 p.m. on ESPN+. North Dakota State at Denver over 156. Denver has a kid that drops like 30 a night. Points. No defense being played here. This game isn't on TV, but it will tip at 4 p.m. Idaho State at Idaho. I know in-state rivalry games, you tend to want to favor the home dog here, but this Idaho team is completely spineless, home or away. Lay the points. Idaho State's winning this game. Tips off at 5 p.m. over on ESPN+. Syracuse coming in with some great momentum at Georgia Tech. You can catch 'Cuse on the money line at -110 now. I would take this all the way to -125. 'Cuse loves to push the pace, play in transition, create steals, and get easy transition buckets. They've been doing it the last 2 games in a row, and they've looked really good doing it. It's time to back this 'Cuse team, this Georgia Tech team. Who knows? Who cares? 'Cuse is hot right now. Take them on the money line, tipping at 5:30 over on the CW Network. NC State at Clemson. I hate laying this big of a number with a semi-fraudulent Clemson team, but getting under 8 here is good, and we got to talk about it. This tips at 7:45 p.m. on the CW as well. MSU at Michigan. Michigan gets their best player back at home, so we'll take the over 143.5. That's just not enough points for Michigan at home. This tips at 8 p.m. on Fox. Colorado on the money line at USC. I'm ready to be hurt by the Buffs again. I don't respect USC. I don't have very much more than that. 10 p.m. over on ESPN. Nevada on the money line versus a fraudulent UNLV team. It is a crying shame that this 11:30 p.m. tip will not be on TV because the Mountain West has a garbage TV contract. Somebody needs to fix that ASAP. That is 22 college looks for you, rapid fire. And I think 22 games is excellent for a 144 game slate. That should be plenty of content for everybody. Speaking of content, Josh is going out of town and will be out of pocket and out of commission for a couple of weeks. So I want to make sure you guys all know what you can expect and where to find my content and videos like this moving forward while Josh is rocking his vacation plans. Monday, February 19th, I will be doing another UCL preview video for the games on Tuesday the 20th and Wednesday the 21st. I will have that video recorded and uploaded to Josh. He will make sure to publish it here on the Land Your Bets Network as soon as convenient when he's done with his travels. Like I said, that will cover Tuesday and Wednesday's UCL games, so that content will stay fresher and relevant longer. Next Saturday, February 24th, I will be doing the Super Saturday Slate, but because Josh will be without internet, I will have to upload and post this to my YouTube page, so be sure to look for it there. The link will be below in the description, and if you can't find it, leave a comment on this video. I guarantee you I will respond, and I will guarantee you that I will point you in the right direction to find said content. Same thing on Monday the 26th. Josh will be without internet access, and I will be uploading a UCL preview video for Tuesday and Wednesday on my YouTube page. Same format we used this week for UCL videos. Saturday, March 1st, I'm not completely sure whether or not that's the start of conference tournaments or we still have a Super Saturday Mega Slate. Either way, that Saturday, I will have college basketball for you guys. Josh will still be without internet, so you will find that on my YouTube page as well. The following Monday, March 4th, I will have UCL content again on my YouTube page as Josh will be without internet. And then Friday the 8th / Saturday the 9th, Josh will be back. We'll be into conference tournaments. I will have a conversation with him about what the schedule and what the games look like, but I will be sure to be bringing you CBB content all throughout the conference tournaments. I also want to mention that I have some big stuff planned for the NCAA tournament. We will be doing a video on Land Your Bets Network every single night after Selection Sunday. I'm going to have a guest on each night to talk not only bets, but brackets in general. Monday, March 18th, I will be having Brad Thomas on. Tuesday, March 19th, I will be having Brandy Mack from Twitter on. Brandy's an Auburn alum. She's an Auburn mega fan. She knows more about the SEC than anybody walking the face of the planet. She knows hoop and she loves ball. Can't wait to have her on and talk brackets and a little bets and definitely some future and even maybe some player future action. And then Wednesday morning, Josh and I will be putting a final video together before games tip off for the round of 64, March 21st. I also know that there is a desire for more CBB content. I haven't forgotten that. I just very much overscheduled myself this week. I will be back to making more of the short format videos during the week. I will try and hit at least one, possibly two major games each Tuesday and Wednesday night because those are my favorite weekday college basketball nights. As always, I gotta end with the plugs. Watch my soccer content with 2 Foot Talk. That's TWO Foot Talk on Wednesday nights on YouTube at 2 Foot Talk or on Twitch with my boy Young Leg. You can also follow 2 Foot Talk's page on Twitter at TWO Foot Talk, which will have all the content and when we're going live. I also do the Bet US La Liga soccer show every Thursday at 3 p.m. with my boy Flash and Klaus Germain. I also run a Discord. That's where I post all the picks. That's where I post all of my notes that I do for these shows as blogs. So if you prefer to read instead of watch, all of that information is available. You also get the lines right when I'm taking them and as early as possible instead of waiting for me to put video content out. So sometimes you win the CLV battle there, but If I could pay my bills with CLV, then I'd be a millionaire. So sometimes it doesn't matter, but it is important. It does end up paying off in the long run. CLV is one of the best indicators of whether or not you're winning bets. I keep the Discord affordable, and I even give you a 3-day free trial to check out what it's all about. I track all of my plays and break them down into more categories than anybody could find useful. And I share them with all the subscribers as Google spreadsheets that are read only, so you can have access to them anytime you want. Join it, don't join it. I'm not really here to push the shit out of it. It's up to you guys. Come check us out. Let me know what you think. If it's for you, stick around. If it's not, no harm, no foul. And that is all I have for you. I got to get out of here. I got to get this edited. I got to get over to Josh so we can get it up at a reasonable hour. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. That's Talking Hoops with Oaks. I'm out.